Hello, thank you for joining us on the program, The Woman in You. Today on the program, a woman that's got integrity, she's got class, and indeed an inspiration will be speaking to us today on the program on, of course, what we've been preaching all this while. She's no other person than Dr. Josephine Onwamaka Bardi, Senior Lecturer, London South Bank University in the UK. Check this out.
Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Josephine Onwamaka Bardi. It is not where you are that matters, it's what you make of it. So over the last few months, I have been doing some radio and television. You must have noticed that I only wear African fabric, and I want to inspire you from that. I live in the UK, and over the years, I have become what is called the only one. The only one syndrome is when you are always the only black British that achieved this, the only black British that did that, the only black British that did that. But most of the time, I noticed that over the years, my middle name, Onwamaka, was being removed from most of my papers, my online login settings, even though the certificates and all the documents that I would submit as a student or as a worker would bear that name. There's always the issue of moving my middle name. But apart from that, when I was doing my PhD and I attended 21 conferences over the 4 years of my PhD, that is nationally and internationally, I realized that even though I would submit my presentation, poster or oral presentation with just Onwamaka Bardi, they would remove or they would not include my middle name. So you can imagine what it feels like for somebody like me initially, then coming out to walk on stage when they say, and the next presenter is Josephine Bardi. Well, Josephine Bardi, as it sounds, is actually not a black African Nigerian woman. It is not the color of my skin, that name, but it is my name, and I'm proud of that name. But I would also like, the part of my name that has the identity that shows that I'm a black British, I'm from sub-Saharan African, that I am Nigerian, that I am Igbo, and I'm proud of it. That was never there. Another thing that happened, the reason I'm telling you this story is sometimes you find that you are the only one who is going on a journey. I always say to my students and to my friends, I do not follow the path that others follow. I like to create my own path. And I don't want people to follow me, I want them to walk beside me. Because I create my own path, when I get tired, I can rest. It's not a race, it's not a competition. Also, when I found out that I was always the only black one at conferences, the only another black one, I decided to change my whole identity. If you're not going to include my middle name, well, I'm going to include it by the way that I look. So I do wear English clothes once in a while, but 90% of my wardrobe is African fabric. It might be high target, it might be Hollandaise, it might be brocade, it might be lace, but I would appear like this, and my hair is virgin hair. It doesn't mean that tomorrow I may not look, what do you call it again, bone straight. I might plait my hair all back and put the bone straight. I don't think people will recognize me, but I'll do it anyway. It's just a change. The fact that you change yourself once in a while shouldn't remove from who you are. You should remain who you are. What I'm trying to say here is this. Even as I sit here, I'm thinking, I would really like to wear this boo-boo made of English fabric or no, maybe a jeans and a t-shirt. It doesn't change the fact that within me, inside of me, I am Josephine Onwamaka Bardi. And I still remain the only black British female in my cohort to get a scholarship. Do you know how sad that is? You see, when I said it proudly, it doesn't sound proud in my mind. Do you know why? I used to walk into those rooms with my colleagues. They're my friends. And some people would look at me and think, and all I could see in their faces, was, soon she realized she doesn't belong here. This was the beginning of my PhD. And sometimes I would hurry in and I want to be the first to sit there, Some people would walk in. Some of my students, my peers would walk in and look at me. And I could see them saying, does she belong here? I don't blame them though. Think about it, 100, 150, maybe 50, 70. I don't care if they were 20. I was the only black one there. Actually, I'm not black, I am brown. Like the brown cast, I am brown, I'm not black, but the color's black in the UK. Isn't that weird? I'm not even black. Here is black. But I'm referring to myself because of the language that I have been given, because of the social construction of name and languages and identity, and this thing that they've won on us. It's almost like we're a masquerade of some kind. It really doesn't matter what they call me, because I know who I am. And for that reason, I insist that they must put my middle name in there, because I want to be black. And for that reason, I wear this. And my hair is all natural. But it is sad to be the only one Because sometimes you are walking to a conference, like a conference in Denmark, I remember. I still have that picture in my mind. I was the one who asked for us to have a group photograph. But guess what? When the group photograph turned up, I was the only black one there. And to be honest, it felt like it was better to remove me than to have me in that picture. Because you can understand, if there are like 35 people in a photograph and you are the only black one standing there in African fabric, you might as well be photoshopped out of that. Because you simply do not belong in that place. What I'm trying to say is this: you don't have to belong. I generally don't want to belong. I saw a photo once where there were like lots of people and there was a hand and it said, picked by grace. I am different. And I love being different. I don't care if you tell me that I can't achieve it. It's okay, that's your views. I will achieve it. And I don't care if I fail on the way to achieving it. As long as you can focus on your goal and know that this is what you want to achieve in life, don't worry about the journey. Don't sell yourself short though. Let me tell you something about achieving more. The moment I say at some places, "Hi, my name is Josephine Bardi," or Josephine Wamaka Bardi, they're like, "So what do you do?" "Oh, I'm a PhD student." That was like a few months ago. They go, "Oh my God, really?" Then I add, "I'm an Economic and Social Research Council PhD student." That is a top scholarship for a black woman to achieve. Guess what? When I applied for it, all my friends said to me, "They won't give you, you're a black woman, racism." Racism only defines you when you don't know who you are. Yes, it exists. And there's institutional racism everywhere. Even in this country, we have tribalism. You know, people cannot go marry. We know that we have that. Yorubas and Igbos and Hausas. So let's not make it look like it's only a white thing against the black people. Even within the UK, we have black people fighting against black people in institutions. Within universities, you find that you might be in trouble. The person who is propelling that issue behind you might actually be a black person. On the first day of mental health nursing, I finished registration and I walked into a room with 4 other people. They walked past me and went to sit down. I stopped because you know what? I could feel my mother's hand nearly hitting me on my back. You know that, when they smack you on your back. And I turned to this woman and I said, "I'm sorry that I'm late. Remember, there were 5 of us. The other 4 walked away. In your quest to trying to achieve something, don't lose your humility. Don't lose your self-respect." I stopped and I said, "I'm sorry." She said to me, "Sorry for yourself." This story was published. If you Google my name, Josephine Wamaka Bardi, you'll find it online because I tell my story. And she looked at me again and said to me, "Why are you here?" I had a fringe and I was size 8 to 10 or 10 to 12 slim, all looking like a model with a red lipstick and popping my lips, and my hair was all smooth. All she could see was a Barbie, a black one. She looked at me and said, she had a microphone, by the way. There were more than 100 people in that room. That's what happens at Northern Induction. We have a huge crowd. And she said, "Go to the magazines. You will never be a nurse." And for the next 3 years, this woman harassed me. She bullied me. She changed my marks a few times. I remember writing my dissertation, and she used to send me text messages and emails and say to me, "You will not pass your dissertation if you don't come and see me." Sometimes she will hunt me down in the library. "I'm telling you a story, and I hope you enjoy the ending of this story." So remember the goal. I focused on the goal. I focused on the finishing line. So the process, the journey, the challenges, they had to come. But I'm focusing on the goal. I'm going for that finishing line. Guess what? I was going to be that person to cross that line. You know that rope, that thing that they put in front. I'm going to cross it before my mates. It didn't matter what she said to me. I had to get a new strategy. I started sleeping in the library. The security man would come at 11 because those libraries close at 11. And if I moved, the light would come on. We have this kind of lights in the UK. So I would stay still so that they would shut the door. And I would be the only one with my friend Onyekon. Then we'll continue, he's gone. Then we'll move and the light will come on. If he cut it, he will say, "Josephine, please go home. Everyone is gone home." I had a goal. I had this destination. And this woman already told me I was never going to be a mental health nurse. I became the only black British to get a first class. See how proud I said that? But when I say it, people are like, "Oh my God, wow." Yeah, remember the challenges. I remember that for the 3 years, they harassed me. And by the way, as a student nurse, look at me. I'm old now. I want to take 10 years out of this phase and see what I look like. Sexual harassment. I published that also. So I can still talk about it. You can read about it. Just Google my name. The male nurse is telling me, if you don't sleep with me, if you don't date me, you better think of your nursing career. I used to say to them, I'm not going to practice as a nurse. I'm going to be a nurse researcher. I'm going to teach people how not to be or fall to what you're doing to me right now. I'm going to teach them how to achieve that which I'm about to achieve, which you cannot even see. But I also cried a lot. I used to sit at bus stops and cry because I didn't want to go to placements, because those men were there. I'd walk into placements, they would put 3 of them together on a shift, and I'll be the only student nurse. So you can imagine how they treated me. Like I always say, it's not where you are that matters, it's what you do. I still got that first class, and they are still nurses. They are still nurses. I'm about to become an associate professor. Do you know why? Because of that goal. Remember that dissertation that woman told me I was going to fail? When I applied for the master's, I had no confidence because she had broken me to pieces. I'm going to tell you something that I've never told my mother. My friends would come to my house and smoke, and I would take it from them. But I couldn't because it made me cough. Because that was how low I had fallen. So if you fall, I want you to imagine a plane that goes through turbulence. The plane doesn't drop and say, ooh. It just says, we're going through turbulence, fasten your seatbelt. Sometimes it might divert and land somewhere else. That's what I did. But then my destination was my destination. I eventually stopped my friends from coming to my house. You can't smoke in my house. That's filthy. I'm not doing that. Thank you. No way. Thank you. So when I left that university and went for the master's 2 weeks later, I put 2-1. Because she had changed my marks enough. I'm about to break your heart, wasn't a white woman. She was a black woman from Zimbabwe. Yeah. Another black woman. You see that? Because all the time I told this story and I mentioned racism, I was like, these white people are not good at all. No. Actually, I've only had maybe one white woman in all my academic career, kind of pinch me a bit. It was always the black women who tried to pull me down. It was always the black woman who did not respond to my email. It was always the black lawyer who I begged them, I have a problem, can you help me? And they would not even respond to my Twitter message. Yeah. The white woman doesn't pull you down. It is the black woman behind the white woman that pulls you down, or the black woman in front of the white woman that pulls you down. From my experience, I don't know about other people. Anyway, so I started the master's. I'm telling you a story here, so that you don't want to come and say, oh my God, I want to be like her. I want you to enjoy the journey with me too. Maybe some of you won't. All this time, I always had my Bible with me. I had gone through domestic abuse. I'm not going to go into that. So I just want to drop it there so that you know that somebody beat me so hard, he had his handprints here. I was screaming, help! He finished beating me and he did this. No, good for you. And then he walked away from the room, went to the kitchen to do some of the food I was cooking before he started beating me. He went into my sitting room, put the TV on and increased the volume. So I went into the wardrobe, packed his stuff and put it outside the door. I said no to domestic abuse, and I said no to marital rape, and I said no to rape. He was my best friend. See that? I'm not saying he was some guy I didn't know. He was my best friend. He beat me to a pulp. I was blue and black. So when that woman told me I wasn't going to be a nurse, I knew I had to better become a nurse, because I wasn't going back to another man to treat me like that. And I knew that I only had one more person to depend on, not even a person. My God, here, the Bible. I used to make my bed. Anybody who knows me knows this. This is my side of the bed. God here says, what did he say? I'll make room for 2, he said. Yeah, I used to make room. I still make room for 2. My Bible was on the pillow on the left-hand side, and I was lying here. Because I have chronic pain, I just couldn't lie there. So when you go into my house, and you walk into my bedroom, see the Bible where a man should be lying. I didn't care what anybody said. I'm just going to achieve what I'm going to achieve. Look at me. Hot mama like me. I could get any man I wanted. No, that's what some of you would say. I don't want a man. I don't want any man. I want me. and my God. And because with God, all things are possible. Nobody can help you. So when I went to that master's to study for my MSc, 2-1, like I said. And then one day the results came out and it was a first class. Wow. The only black British female to get a first class. Remember that word? You will never be a nurse. I won 4 awards as a student nurse. My name was all over. Josephine Bardi, Josephine Bardi, Josephine Bardi. Then they used to remove my middle name. I didn't even care then. Hear that? When I got that result, I went to the only male lecturer. His name is Calvin Morley. He's a professor now. Can you believe that? Oh my God. Calvin is a professor. When I knew him, he was going through so much challenge at that university, he was willing to leave. Thank you, Calvin. I took my certificate and I put it in front of me and I said, excuse me, sir. When I applied for this course, this voice is a bit loud right now because then my self-esteem was bottom. I used to hear you saying that all of us are in the mud, some of us are looking up to the stars, some are looking in the mud. I was one of those who used to look at the mud. Today, I own the stars because I interact with them. Excuse me, sir. When I applied for this course, I put 2-1 because the lecturer used to bully me. She's dead now, by the way. I just wish she was alive to see what I've become. That's what the Bible said, let my enemies live long. And I said, but the results came out. I had it on my face. That's how ashamed I was. I slept in the library, I read. In fact, I was helping my mates. They were coming to my house because by helping others, you help yourself. I became so good in these courses, I could practically reel out the references from my head. Became like an encyclopedia for mental health. He looked at me and he said, is that what you're whispering? Come with me. Went into the admin office and he said, ladies, please. This. Everybody stood up and they went. I'm an athlete. I played basketball for Nigeria. And I played hockey and table tennis and lawn tennis and badminton and squash. 100 meters, 200 meters. I never ever praised myself until somebody has done that. That was a validation of my achievement. I walked out of that place with my head high. 2 weeks later, I got a scholarship. I don't know if I told you that I was chucked out of that university. That means they chased me out because I couldn't, afford the fees. You need to knock again. When people say no, go back and ask again. It's in the Bible anyway. Why don't you read it? Go to Psalm 20. May the Lord answer me in the day of trouble. May the name of the Lord of Jacob save me. Go there. Read your Psalm 36 and your Psalm 91. Just keep reading them. The more you read them, the bigger you get. And think of Maya Angelou and come with your ancestors when you speak. And don't let anybody tell you can't be anything. Because look at me today. Still limp sometimes because I have chronic pain though. But it's okay, I can take my medications. I'm just trying to say that you may have an illness alongside trying to achieve. It's okay. And so I started a master's degree. And I remember Calvin used to say to them in the class, you are lucky to have her here because she should have gone straight and done a PhD. But my elder brother, captain, he's a captain today, in the British Army. It's one of the only few black captains from Nigeria in the British Army. My mother did some great work. My dad is dead, but my mom has been great since my father died. And we have achieved like no one else. No one else that is competing with us anyway. My brother said to me, you have to learn how to walk before you can run. Do a master's. So I got a scholarship. And I got a distinction. Remember when Ira, that's her name, when she was bullying me, I used to sleep in the library. When I came to do the masters, I had learned how to sleep in the library. From my challenge, I learned a skill. I became so enabled, so capable to sleep in the library and read. It's called room 202, second floor, University of East London Library. That became my home. 3 times a week from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. I walked in when people were walking out. I walked out when they were walking in. The day is noisy. You need to read at night because it is quiet. Everything is calm. I used to put on my Beats earphone and listen to Tiny Temper. Loud. I got a distinction. I became the only black British to get a distinction. Look at me. Small me, eh? And I won the Dean's Award for the highest achieving postgraduate student. That was fantastic. I nearly fell, by the way. I didn't know what. I climbed up the stage and then... Do you remember when I had that thing in front of me? Ashamed, when my confidence was on the low? Professor carving Molly today, then he was just carving to me. Said to me, what else did this woman? Come and tell me, who did that to you that you are crying even when you have achieved? I said her name was Irasibindi. She's dead now, but I want you to know there was a black woman who did that to me. She broke me, and by breaking me, God fixed me. Let human beings break you, don't worry. Because the word of God says that those that wait on the Lord shall renew their strength and mount up like eagles. And he also says, it's okay, because he is your strength, he's your rock, and your salvation. Don't worry. Let human beings do. But don't let them be the decision. Let somebody else's actions towards you not decide your outcome. Because that is really going to finish you up. I told Calvin what Irasibindi said about my dissertation I was going to fail. He said, email it to me. I emailed it to him. He said, this should have been 80s and 90s. I promise you, we will publish this just to prove to you that you are somebody and you can write. And I promise you, when we publish this, you will do a PhD. We published that work. It became my first ever publication. See? All I'm trying to say is this. I went ahead to do the PhD. Again, I became the only black that got a scholarship. Not a good place to be, but I'm glad. I'm glad that I always had my Bible. I'm glad that I always read my Bible, that I put it beside me. So it was the first thing that I saw, and it was the last thing that I saw. So even if something else was worrying me, I could quickly pick up my Bible and read it. Today, I am Dr. Josephine Bardi. And like I said to my students, you wouldn't know what it feels like to finish. It's only those who start that knows that feeling. Remember, the grass is only green on the other side because someone watered it. And I'm Dr. Josephine, and I am so proud to have my chronic pain and have all my challenges. You want to be like me? Start by respecting your challenges. If you can't frustrate your challenges by respecting them, they probably give you a chance. In the UK, go ahead and Google my name. I won every award that was possible at University of Nottingham. I even won Student of the Year. You know, there's different award. It's called the Tri-Campus Award. They have 3 campuses. And this woman here, she won it, among other people. There were only 3 black people. Again, yours truly was there. My posters and my PowerPoint presentations, they win awards. I founded the campaign to raise awareness of mental health in higher education, not because there was money, I don't earn anything, but because of my personal experience, because by helping others, you help yourself. Today I have lots of students. And like I said, this year, most of my students got first class. The other ones that got 2-1, it's high 2-1. Trust me, nothing is as bad as you being selfish and just you. You have to build other women up. You have to help other women in order to help yourself. Because when they share their challenges with you, you probably appreciate the little one that you have. I am so glad with what God gave me. I am glad that I have my family that I have. I am glad that I'm here back in Nigeria. Most importantly, I am glad that somebody taught me how to go back to God. I know it's difficult because trust me, man, the guy doesn't answer when you pray. The guy can frustrate you, he can delay. But you know they say delay is not denial. I waited. Thank you for listening, and I hope I'll speak to you someday. Go inside yourself, go back within yourself. The grass is not always greener there, someone watered it. Thank you.
She said it all. What else can I say? The I Can spirit, I tell you, will definitely take you a long way. As a woman, you've got dreams to fulfill and promises to yourself that you must keep. You are 100% that queen. You need and you ought to believe in yourself. That was Dr. Josephine Bardi. She's a senior lecturer at the London South Bank University in the UK, and she's just told us all we need to know as women. Thank you very much for watching this edition of the program, The Woman in You. My womanhood is my pride. I'll see you again next week. Let's do it again. My name is Joy. Stay blessed.